For 22 seasons, that swing and that trip around the bases turned Babe Ruth into an American hero, a towering legend of baseball with an eternal mystique that lingers over the sport he changed forever. Babe Ruth came up during the so-called dead ball era, where the game relied more on strategy, small ball techniques like bunting and stealing bases. Hitting for power was rare. But as a young pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, Ruth flashed the lumber more than a few times. And when he was sold to the New York Yankees in 1920, he came into his own, emerging as a fearsome slugger. Fans flocked to witness his prowess at the plate. In his first season as a Yankee, he hit 54 home runs, a record he broke a year later with 59, and broke again in 1927 with 60. The fact that nobody had ever hit half that many before Ruth started his tear made him the face of Major League Baseball and an international superstar. Under the spell of Babe Ruth's mighty swing, not only its ability to put fans in seats, but also win games, the game began to transform. Teams groomed more and more power hitters, and the ways of the dead ball era were soon overshadowed by the glories of a home run. Throughout his tenure in New York, Ruth and his bat led the Yankees to 4 World Series championships, none more remarkably than in 1927. The prime of Murderers Row, New York's robust lineup, headed by Ruth and a young Lou Gehrig. By the end of the 1920s, Ruth had won the hearts and affections of millions. He was larger than life, the celebrity of the decade. But the hitting machine didn't stop there.
And in 1933, as in so many other seasons, Babe Ruth was the Sultan of Swat. He was past his peak, but in the very first All-Star game, he came to bat with one man on and with poetic justice pulled a home run to provide the winning margin.
1934 would be Ruth's last season in a Yankee uniform. His production was in noticeable decline, but his appeal was no less terrific. In 1935, he signed with the Boston Braves, lured by the prospect of eventually taking over as manager, but it wasn't to be. And on May 30th, 1935, Ruth took the field for the last time, closing out a career that bears few comparisons. A year after retiring, Ruth was among the first 5 players inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Over the next few years, he continued to pursue big league manager positions. Nothing ever materialized, but he remained adored, idolized, and cherished as a national treasure.
Daddy would be so mobbed. He never turned down a kid who asked for an autograph, no matter how many there were.
He was gone from the game, but what he left behind, the excitement of the big swing, the ball leaping off his bat, flying deep into the outfield stands, that was something that would not and could not be forgotten.
Then the Sultan of Swat himself, Babe Ruth, the one and only Bambino, who gets a tremendous ovation from the assembled customers. Back in the home that Ruth built, wearing his own number 3, which is now retired to baseball's Hall of Fame, the Babe shows how it was done to the plaudits of his multitude of devoted fans.
That appearance at Yankee Stadium in 1948 would be Ruth's last. He died of cancer 2 months later. But in death, the Great Bambino would loom even larger, growing into an almost mythical figure. His greatest triumphs reenacted for years to come on baseball diamonds and in backyards all over the country. And his memorabilia among the most coveted possessions in the sports world. It's a testament to the giant he was immune to the passing of time, a legend that only grows stronger.